As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a Business Zone with
Sandy Lou Guerrero
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Today, Sandy Lou will be sitting in for Crystal. And we're reaching out today to a wider range of audience. We're reaching out to the Latino groups, the African American groups, the Native American groups. We just want to help small businesses today, right, Sandy Lou?
Yes, we do.
That's right. That's right. So, Sandy, how are you doing? Welcome back to the Business Zone.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for reaching out to me. I'm doing great. It's November.
That's right.
We're heading to the holiday season. Today's El Día de los Muertos for,
really?
for us Latinos to celebrate.
Okay.
Where we honor
the dead.
Where we honor the dead. And so it's a special day and just a lot going on.
It is a lot going on. And November is also Small Business Month. So we're going to be doing a lot of small business activities throughout the month of November. We're going to talk about how small businesses need to prepare themselves for 2019, how they need to prepare themselves to close out 2018.
That's really... Hey, I might get some tips that will be very supportive. It's the end of the year. There's so much that comes up at the end of the year. You want to end powerfully. You want to make sure you completed some of those goals, if not all, at least one.
That's right. That's right.
And be ready for next year.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And so, Sandy, what have you been doing over the last few days this week?
Well, I've been really busy. I have a Facebook Live show called Transform Your Life with Sandy Lou and Friends. And on November 12th, I will be having a very special show where we are honoring our veterans. And it's our second annual show. And we're having a live audience, which is different from what we did last year. We have friends and family and business owners and our network that is supporting in sponsorship and gifts and things that we're going to do for veterans that we're going to be honoring. So I'm like super excited. It's been great. Awesome to see all the support that I'm getting to create this event. We cannot thank our veterans enough.
And where's this event going to be, in Riverside?
It's actually, it's going to be in Monterey Park. It's going to be at the American Legion Post 397 in Monterey Park on Monday, November 12th.
Right. Okay, that sounds great. I love working with not only small businesses, but I also like working with the veterans as well, because not too many programs are available to help small businesses or small business veterans. So we want to be on the forefront helping. So I really appreciate what you're doing, Sandy Lou, for them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. And my co-host, Crystal Mitchell, is not here today. She's out with the Bellas, the Bella Network, and they're having an event for which she's playing a very important role. So that's why you don't see her here on the set with us today. But she'll be back next week. And those of you who are listening or tuning into the Business Zone for the first time, our phone number here is 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375. If you have any questions at all, any questions you want to ask Sandy Lou, or any questions you want to ask me about small business, about growing your business, mentorship, patents, trademark, whatever you want to do, just give us a call here. We'll be happy to go ahead and take care of that for you. Don't be a stranger now. Now, the Business Zone, as you all know, is a platform where small business and supplier diversity contract providers come together to provide business opportunities for small businesses. We provide the training, so we get you business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready, so you can participate with those contract providers.
That's really great. So if you haven't got contract ready, then Gilbert is definitely a really great resource to get you straight and get you going.
Thank you. And Sandy Lou has been doing a lot of training as well with small businesses Transforming Your Life. Can you tell our audience a little bit about Transforming Your Life, Sandy Lou?
Well, Transforming Your Life, I'm a transformational business and life coach. So I support and empower and motivate people to take their business on to new levels, to take their life on to new levels. So sometimes it's a combination of both, depending on what they got going on. So I facilitate and create workshops on empowerment, motivation, mindset, and business.
Yes.
And I also do one-on-one coaching for people that, a lot of entrepreneurs seem to be my clients.
Yes.
And people just want to elevate themselves.
And one of the things that we've been doing is working together with the Latino community and African American community. We're trying to bring those types of small businesses together so they can pool resources, they can team up, they can go after opportunities together. Because one of the things that we've learned, Sandy Lou, is that contract providers such as Edison, such as a gas company, they want to see teams. They don't want to see one small business coming into them looking for opportunity. They want to see a team of small business coming in and providing that resource, that combined resource to obtain them with opportunity. I mean, to provide them with assistance and solve their pain. So that's a great thing why we really need to have the Latinos and African Americans come together.
Yeah, definitely, because of diversity. I mean, I think right now there's a lot of focus on diversity and inclusion, and that this is our opportunity for us to step up and not only step up, but be unified.
Oh, yes.
Just as a human race, not necessarily, Latino, African American, but just as a human race.
Yes.
Because that's the only way we're going to start changing our world, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And the one thing I want to put out there, because I've been saying this in my workshop a lot, Sandy Lou, I've been saying this, that the Latinos occupy 39% of our California population. African Americans occupy 12%. You put those two together, that's 51%. That means we're dominant. So therefore, we should be teaming up and going after some dominant opportunities with the state, the county, the city, and even the federal government.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, what would it really look like if we unified and we worked towards the common good, the good for all people? I mean, it would change everything in our economy, in our country, and in the world in general, because we are a big, part of the world, and we contribute in so many different ways everywhere. So our life would look so different.
It would look
so different. And not only that, what would it look like if we actually all supported each other, within our race and everyone else, right? Because it doesn't always happen within even our own race.
That's true.
You see that, right?
That's true.
But what would it look like? It's just a matter of choice and letting our egos out of the way and really being committed to the good of all people. Right.
And the thing about it is, not everyone worked together very well. Sometimes you gotta, even in a marriage, you may marry someone and then a few months later you're going, did I make the right choice here? The same thing with business. You may come together with another business associate and you said, let's go together after this opportunity. Then you find out once you're conducting your assessment of that individual and their behavior and their habits, you find out that this is not really a good match. So sometimes you need to do that assessment process first before you really jump in full-fledged and try to team up with someone. So even though we're saying you should team up, doesn't necessarily mean that you won't vet that person first. You want to vet them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, I think one is you got to trust your intuition. Sometimes it's not that it's bad or they're doing something bad, but sometimes when our visions are not in alignment, and the way we want to do business or the way we do business is not in alignment with the way we do it.
Right.
And that could create so much chaos and conflict. And instead of taking 10 steps forward, you get to take 10 steps back.
Exactly.
So you definitely want to nurture the relationship. And sometimes people are great friends, but they're not the greatest business partner.
True.
That's okay.
That's true. And one of the things that I was talking with one of my business associates earlier is that what we need to do when we conduct business, even though the person may be our friend, that person may be a friend that we've had for many years. We may have grown up with that person. But when it comes to business and friendship do not mix. So you should have an operating agreement between you and that person. Sandy and I, we've worked together before, and we use operating agreements. I've appeared on her show. She's appeared on my show. we have operating agreement which states that this is how things work, this is the protocol, this is what your role and responsibilities are, this is what my role and responsibility, and it makes for the relationship to be much more smoothly.
Yeah, because it's very clear. It's black and white. There's no gray area. Because
Right.
gray areas are always
a problem.
shaky ground.
Yeah.
And then, we make assumptions.
Yes.
And, there's an expectation, but it was never really spoken. So this is
Yes.
just one way to
Yes.
simplify
Yes.
and clarify and support one another so that the relationship, professional and personal, is respected.
And no matter how simple the transaction, you still want to have an agreement. Because you never know, you and that operating partner or operating member may see things the same way, but then you may interpret it a little differently. And that could create so many problems. So we're just saying that you're not going to really be a hard nose with this person, but what you're doing is you're just operating from a business and a formal standpoint. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and definitely ask questions because you said you might interpret it differently.
Oh, yeah.
So it could say one thing and you both, based on your experience, knowledge, education,
Yes.
background, it goes on and
Yes.
on, will have a completely different understanding. And so ask questions if you're not sure about something.
Ask questions for clarification. So again, our number here is 323-293-3375, 323-293-3375. Between Sandy Lou and I, we've got a very wide reach when the small businesses that we reach out to. If you're in Los Angeles, you're in Alhambra, you are in Covina, you are in Puente Hills, Glendora, Chino, Riverside, we reach out to you, small businesses, San Diego, Fresno, even in Kenya.
Las Vegas. Even,
Las
right?
Vegas. So we've got a wide reach. Florida, we've got a very wide reach. So if you're listening or you're tuning in to Facebook right now, give us a call. Send us your questions. We'll be happy to answer it for you. Look at us as your business consultants that you don't really have to pay today. You're getting some free consulting today.
And it's interesting because there's so much free information out there that golden nuggets that if we would just take the time to listen
Yes.
to reach out, like right now they can call, right?
Yes.
It could make a world of a difference.
Oh,
and some
yes.
people don't use those resources, so use us.
Yes. Use us. Go ahead and
Use
use us. We're willing to provide you free services today.
Yes, for today, right now. Within
So-
how many hours? No, I'm kidding.
So, Sandy Lou, do you have any workshops coming up?
Actually, no. Right now, I'm restructuring my business. I'm going to be doing a lot of programs online, video coaching,
Good.
and things like that. So I'm really doing some restructuring. So that's my main focus right now, along
Yes.
with this big show that's coming up.
Good.
But that's really my main focus right now. So I'll be regrouping with the workshops for next year.
Uh-huh.
But it's just the way the market is going, and considering the kind of lifestyle I want to create for myself, is I decided that that's the route I would be taking.
Excellent. Now, tell the small businesses out there how they can reach you, how they can get a hold of you, and how you can provide assistance and resources for them.
Oh, definitely. Well, you can go to my website. You can go to sandylouguerrero.com or lifechoicecoaching.com. Or you can reach me directly at 562-418-3153. Just don't call me at midnight. Unless it's you absolutely have to reach out to someone, which has happened.
Yes.
But please be considerate.
I went to an event one time and I was giving out my number. So I gave out my cell phone number to the participants out there in the audience. I said, hey, you guys need help? Give me a call. I'll be happy to sit with you and go over your capability statement or go over your business plan or anything you need to have done. Here's my number. So I gave there's about 1,000 people out there, right? And I gave my number, and guess what? 2 women called me late at night saying, oh, I need help with this. I'm going, it's 12 o'clock at night. What's going on? Did you just realize you needed help?
I know. Well, with me, it's because I do life coaching,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it's therapeutic, and sometimes people feel like they just need to talk. So
Right.
I've had moments like where I'm available I feel like something tells me, you know what, this is a call you got to answer. You need to answer, and it's always worked out in their favor. Where it's like someone I was able to support right then and there, and just transform their mindset, shift them from where they were experiencing. But of course, we don't want that all the time. But but at the same time, I tell people, well, I'm not a therapist, so let's get that straight. So, but I could support you whichever way I can, or refer you to people. Right. But I'm not a therapist. I recently have had someone that keeps doing Messenger.
Really?
He's in another state, and just random, like, hi. I was like, and I'm like, it's 3 a.m. I was like, it was really early in the morning. He's like, oh, it's 6 a.m. here. I'm like, well, it's 3 a.m. here. I don't know.
He's probably on the East Coast, right?
So I don't even know if he's like trying to pick up on me, or if he's trying to get support. So I'm like, sometimes I have a hard time just being like, okay, because I don't know where they're coming from.
That's true. And based on where their mind is at the time too, they might be in a fragile state. Mm-hmm. So you don't really want to say something that may rattle them and make them take a really brash and erratic decision. Mm-hmm. So yes, we got to handle it real carefully.
It's a fine line, and it's a big responsibility. Yes. So that's why I make it a point to say I'm not a therapist.
Right.
So just be clear. The work I do could be very therapeutic for some people, but it's not therapy.
And that's one of the things that I learned when I did counseling. I did counseling in college, and after that we did career counseling as well. So one of the things that you learn is to identify it. That's why it's important when you're speaking is to look people in the eyes so you can see where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. That body language is really critical. So once you do that, then you can get an idea where they're coming from, and then your responses accordingly will be appropriate enough so that you don't really rattle them, you don't make them go off and commit suicide or do something really erratic.
Yeah, definitely. That's really important. I tell people, it's a business. I'm a coach. Yes, of course, I want to get paid. Who doesn't, right?
Yes,
I got to pay my bills just like everyone else.
That's right.
Kindness doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. But at the same time, their well-being is of utmost importance to me.
Yes, that's true. That is true. So don't hesitate, small businesses. Go ahead, give us a call. This is a good time. You can call us. Don't worry about it being too late right now, but give us a call and ask us any question that you may need to have the answers for. Again, November is Small Business Month, so we're doing a lot to get you prepared for the holiday season and for the end of the year, and also for the coming year, 2019, which should be really great for small business. We're really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that this is a time of the year where things tend to slow down for a lot of businesses. And I think it's a good opportunity to self-reflect and see what you've learned throughout the year. And then also look at your goals that you created, in the beginning of the year, and see what have you accomplished.
Yes.
What if you haven't, accomplished something in particular, and there's a will and a way.
Yes.
You have some time left to get it done before the year's over.
Yes.
Sometimes I had worked with the client earlier this year, and they had set 6-month goals and 1 year goals. Well, we got their goals done. After hiring me as their coach, accountability, support, empowerment, motivation, a kick in the butt, etc. They were done within 35, 40 days with what they had created for the whole year, which was, crazy. But the thing is that we don't realize that we're not being purposeful with our time, or we're thinking it's going to take longer. And because it feels overwhelming, we look at the big mountain that we got to climb, and then we don't realize, you just move a little rock at a time, one step at a time, before you know it, you're there. And it makes a world of a difference. So check what you committed to early this year. What can you complete before the year's over, so that at a minimum you know that you got something accomplished and you got one step further in what you want to create in your life.
That's a very good point, Sandy Lou. Sometimes we set goals and we don't even remember that we set those goals. So they're still there hanging, and the goals are going, hey, are you going to come back and finish us? What's going on? So what you just said is really critical, very important.
Yeah, and it's not about let me beat myself up or what, there's so much that happens in entrepreneurship takes a lot of courage,
right.
A little craziness because you've got to be crazy to say I'm letting go of my my regular check and uncertainty, every single day. But people accomplish so much, and as long as you keep moving forward, and if something's not working, shift. And coaching is essential. In fact, I just recently hired a new business coach because I knew the direction I wanted to go. Good. I found someone that is already doing it, is very successful, and we gotta get that support as well.
That's
if
great.
we get caught up in that, I know everything, and I know that I know that I know, forget it, because there's always something you're not seeing, and someone else will be able to point it out and give you suggestions that maybe you didn't think about, or maybe simplify what you had planned to do.
Right. Now, did it take you a long time to find that other coach, that other business coach? Because looking for good talent, it takes a lot of time. You got to go through the weeds and get rid of some people you don't really need to do business with until you find the right one.
Well, the thing about it is that I'm a coach, so you can only imagine how challenging it could be for me because part of what I've learned is how to read people and see what's going on, right?
Yes.
And so it was challenging to find that one, even mentors. Like I've learned a lot from a lot of people that I look, up to and admire in different ways.
Right.
And then those same people, not the same in not other ways, right?
That's right.
So the same thing with coaches. I think there's certain, we all have our specialty and our strong point, and we all operate differently, and we're not, I'm not going to be everyone's coach,
Right.
and I'm okay with that because not everyone is my ideal client either, and I don't want to. There's certain people I don't want to work with either.
Yes.
Like it's just the way human nature, right?
Right.
But finding a coach was a little challenging, but I had this coach is a coach of other people I know that are doing well, and because of the structure that I'm working towards, I felt that this is the coach for me. So we're working on, we're getting things done. Right now I'm focused more on this veteran show because it does require a lot of my time and attention.
Right.
But that's what we're working on.
Well, I have, when I'm going to bring someone on to work with me as an associate or a team member or a partner, I have this program that I use. It's called KYP, Knowing Your Personnel. It's a personality profile system, which I adopted, and I tailored it to suit my needs, my program, my training, my demographic. And it's amazing. So what it does, it assesses people's behaviors, their behavioral style, their behavior, and tendencies. And it categorizes them into 4 categories. So we all fall in those 4 categories. So based on that, when you're interfacing with someone, you look for those 4 to see which one of that they fall into. And then based on that, you will know how to relate to them, what to do, what not to do, so you can have a good relationship. And then also in your case, like you're looking for an additional coach, then coaches have certain tendencies that they must have that you want to see. So if you're while you're interfacing with that coach and you're not seeing those tendencies, those behavioral styles, then this may not be a good fit, may not be a good match for me. So that's what I use when I even use it with clients.
Oh, I do too with my clients. In fact, depending on my client, if my client's an entrepreneur and usually they're dealing with other people and they're trying to get clients, I teach them that. I teach them that the 4 quadrants of personality styles. And of course, when I'm working with them, if I don't identify them, I'm in trouble.
Exactly.
Because I'll lose them.
You got to identify to know what style, what approach to use with them, because the styles that we have in our system, one is a controller, one is a stabilizer, one is an analyzer, and one is a persuader. So one of those 4 styles is more dominant when it comes to leadership. So if you have someone in a leadership role and they're taking one of the more subservient role, then you want to start looking at other things to say, is this person really the kind of leader I'm looking for? Do I want more of this, or do I want a subtle leader? That type of thing. So it was amazing. And many of the classes that I have with my proteges or my mentees or some of my clients, they love it. They love it.
Yeah, definitely. It's very eye-opening, and then they start figuring out who in their family
Yeah.
is what personality style, and
Yeah.
I think the more we become self-aware, the
Yes.
more we could understand other people.
Oh, yes.
I think
Oh,
that's
yes.
like key.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So again, this is the Business Zone with
Sandy Lou Guerrero.
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Now, Sandy Lou, I know you are affiliated with the National Latina Business Women Association. As a matter of fact, I taught some classes there this year in March and April of this year, and you were a part of that. Are you still affiliated with the National Latina
Well, I'm
Business
still
Women?
a member. I'm not on the board. I was on the board, and now I'm a member. And yeah, I'm affiliated. I'm a supporter of the organization. They provide phenomenal, great resources for entrepreneurs, business owners, women, and men as well. So it's definitely something I advocate for.
Okay. So I know we did the Business Management Academy with the National Latina Business Women Association. We do it annually every year. And, hopefully I'll be able to do it again next year in March, too, to help the small business women owners to become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. So I really enjoy doing that. I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm not part of that
I
decision
know
making
you're
anymore, but
not.
I hope so too.
I know you're
Unfortunately, I did the year before, but not this year because they had it Tuesday evenings, and I have my show on Tuesday evenings. So I was like, why did you guys do that date? But apparently, the venue where they have it was available Tuesday evenings. So I'm crossing my fingers for a Wednesday or a Monday. Putting it out there.
Well, if they're going to have it again and they choose to use me, then I'll try to see if I can advocate to have it on a Wednesday, so you can participate this time again.
Sounds good to me. I won't complain. I think you could go many times, and every time we learn something different. I think sometimes people don't realize, I already took it, but you're in a different mindset. You're in a different place in your business, and there's always something new, and things are constantly changing.
That's right.
And so for me, like, I could keep taking it, and I know I'm gonna gain a lot.
Oh,
from
yes.
it.
And the thing about my classes and the training that I provide, I never teach the same way twice. So even if I'm teaching the same material to the same group 2 months in a row, you're going to get a lot of different information, because what I always do when I teach my classes, I conduct research on current events, current activities, conduct my market research, and I include that in the program. So that's why people tend to come to those classes over and over, and they get a lot of different
And it's a
information.
refresher.
Yes.
And then if you didn't get everything done the year before, you get more information to get keep you on process in your process.
Yes. So again, you're on the Business Zone. Give us a call. Our number here is 323-293-3375. 323-293-3375. We got our very, very special guest here, Sandy Lou Guerrero.
Guerrero. I think I'm not even rolling my eyes right at this point.
I'm always butchering it. I'm
Or
sorry.
like my dad would say, warrior.
And Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. We're at the bottom of the hour right now, so we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Sandy, is there something else you wanted to share before we take a break?
No, not at this time, but I just want to say stay tuned, because we do have a very inspiring guest, and there's so much that we could learn from him. He's doing a lot of great things in the community for the youth, for our cultures, right? As we were saying about the importance about empowering each other and being unified. So you definitely want to make sure that you tune in. And for all my friends that are watching on Facebook, I know that you're probably wondering what's going on, but this is just another opportunity for you to learn, and not for myself, more different perspective from me as well as from Gilbert Buchanan here. So thank you. I'm excited
Not
to
a problem.
be here. Thank
You're my very good friend, so every opportunity I get, I want to bring you in, get you involved. And for our very inspirational guest that's coming up, we're just going to conduct this interview in Spanish with him, because I'm sure he can do it.
Yes.
So we'll go ahead and take a break right now. You're on the Business Zone with
Sandy Lou Guerrero
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Take a break.
All right.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork. because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Sandy Lou Guerrero
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today we've got a very inspirational guest for you guys. You guys are going to love this guest. He's a social entrepreneur. He's a very inspirational speaker, an educator who loves to create and build with purpose. He is a co-founder and senior director of educational and innovation at the Cambio Group. The Cambio Group, I should say, right?
Change.
So Cambio, as most of you know, in the Latino community, Cambio means change. So that's what our inspirational leader here is going to tell you about, a little of the change that he brings about to the youth and small business, the youth and younger adults that he works with. He's been a leader, dynamic leader. He's appeared on a variety of different shows, NPR, ABC, NBC, CNN, and BET, just to share some of his amazing insights. So individuals like myself can use some of that to guide our lives through wherever we need to be. Now, He's from Baltimore. And as most of you know, Baltimore is somewhat very close to Jamaica because there's a lot of Jamaicans down there. So he's going to tell us how he combines the Jamaican approach, the American approach, and the Latino approach to make his inspirational projects thrive. So without any further ado, I want to introduce to you to the Business Zone, Dr. Lamar Darnell Shields. Dr. Shields, welcome to the Business Zone.
First of all, I'm looking around like, who is this dude introducing? I want to meet this cat. Whoever this guy you was introducing, I was waiting for him to walk. And he kept saying to him, and I knew it wasn't you over there. So I'm just honored to be. I like how when you said cambio, you move your head. You're just a yard boy. I saw you, man. You want to start moving, especially with my Latina sister right here. Yeah, so I'm just honored to be here, man. It's interesting. You know, it's interesting to hear someone talk about you in those words, man, because like I know the behind the scenes story. You know what I mean? Like people know, they know that, but they never talked about. Yeah, nobody wanted to listen to me at one time. True. Like my mother said, people still pay to hear you. Like, Ma, are you the first hater in the family? Like, are you hating on your son? And so, again, you know, it's an honor just to be. I just want to say that had to be the longest musical, out to the producer, that had to be the longest musical introduction in radio. I'm like, all right, when are we going to start talking? I'm like, whoa, that was a long music introduction, man. But so I am honored. I'm honored to be. So I'm originally, yo soy de Chicago. So I'm originally from Chicago, so I live in Baltimore. I know you probably think, listen, like this dude go from one crazy city to another crazy. Well, first of all, pulling up on Crenshaw, because my godson was in the car as we were driving, and I'm a hip hop head to I die.
I love that.
And so as I'm driving, whenever I come to Cali, I went to Grambling State University, so a lot of folks who are from Grambling have California roots. And so when I drive through neighborhoods, like when I see Crenshaw and Figueroa, and I always think about hip hop, man. I think about NWA. I think about Boys in the Hood. That's the music that made me who I am. So driving down these streets, man, and I'm from a big city. I'm just still looking around like, wow, I'm straight up on Crenshaw.
You're so inspirational that already we got a call coming in for you. They want to hear from you. So
hope it's not the IRS. We ain't talking about taxes on the show. Like was this a setup? You got me here.
Let's find out who it is. Caller, state your name and where you're calling from.
It's Crystal.
Hey, my co-host. Hey, my co-host. How you doing?
I am good. Took a break from my women's conference to say hello. And
All right.
You, Sandy.
All right, Sandy.
All right.
Hi,
I miss
Sandy,
you here.
How are you?
Great. Great to be here on your seat.
I'm glad that you're there for me.
Of course.
Did you hear our inspirational speaker here?
I heard him. I just kind of just came out the back. I took a break from the conference, which I've been at since 9 o'clock this morning.
Man, he's phenomenal.
You're missing out, just saying.
Yeah, the conference is pretty cool. So I'm going to listen to him on my way back in.
Oh, okay.
Before I go back in. But and who is the guest?
Well, his name is Dr. Lamar Darnell Shields. He's bilingual.
Okay.
And he's from Maryland by way of Jamaica.
Maryland by way of Jamaica, and just arrived in Los Angeles.
Just arrived, just arrived. Trump trying to chase us down, so I was running, so I made it here. Brought my buddy some ackee and some sawfish here.
You gotta pivot fast right now.
Gotta pivot fast. I bought him some mangoes from the island.
So. You got some good old ackee and sawfish and some mango.
You missing out. You are missing out. I don't know what those ladies are talking about, but you're missing out because it's hot in here right now.
Yep.
Well, wow. This is my annual conference where we empower women to stand up and be in control.
That's what I'm talking about.
In control.
Indeed.
But I know you guys going to have a great show, so I'll just let you guys have it. I just wanted to say hello to everyone and to welcome our guests and thank our guest co-host.
All right. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
Who knows?
Right.
When I go to Vegas the next time, I may have to bring in Dr. Shields to fill in my slot for me.
Okay, that'll work. He sounds like he's got some knowledge and some lyrics.
I appreciate that.
Super. He's got some super knowledge here.
I appreciate it.
Cool. Well,
All right.
great.
All right, Crystal.
Have a great show. and I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, thank you. Have a good one. All right.
You too.
So, Dr. Shields, you were telling us about some of these amazing experiences that you.
Yeah, first of all, I'm honored to be here. I am on a sort of a speaking tour. We just left Palm Springs, and I took 2 days off to come hang out with my sister, and then we're going back to Temecula. It's a school climate conference taking place up there. I've never been to Temecula. My mother turned 75, so by the grace of God, I'm honored that my gifts allow me to bring her with me.
Yeah.
And so I heard that my mother got a casino habit. I ain't noticed. Just real quick. So I heard my mother was going to Mississippi. This is when fried turkeys were like real popular.
Oh, yeah.
So my sister, I'm like, Ma, you going to Mississippi to get fried? Because we like vegan. I'm like, why are you going to get fried turkeys? Then when I found out, my sister was like, so you didn't know Mom was going down to the casino to water? Like, oh. So when I told her for her 75th birthday I'm going to bring her here, I sent her the website, and she was like, "Yo, we are going." So she is here. So we're excited about that. I mean, this is what entrepreneurship is about.
That's right, man.
Like Jay-Z said. Of course, I always reference hip hop, man. I can go from Jay-Z to Bach, to Michael Eric Dyson. He says, "I'm a businessman. I'm not a businessman." He talks about being the business.
Yeah.
And so when you walk away from, people think that they're going to put these chains around you to lock you up because one person said you're going to be doing this. So I walked away from that. And so because of that, I have the freedom to do and make my own schedule. And so for anybody that's out there listening, it's about stepping out on faith. This work is about being courageous, believing in yourself. And what's unfortunate, most people, Brother Gilbert, they work harder for other people than they do for themselves.
That is true.
And so I'm honored to be able to bring my mother here. And this is just one of many trips. But these gifts, and I call them gifts because they can easily be taken away.
Yeah.
I moved to Baltimore in the late 90s to become a little old Spanish teacher. But it was something greater than that. And my students, after 5 years, they knew I was going to leave. I wrote a book about my teaching experience called What I Learned in the Midst of Chaos, The Making of an Ubuntu Teacher. And they knew I was going to leave. They knew that the classroom was a little too small. And for those educators that are out there that are listening, thinking that they need to stay there, there's a huge world out there as it relates to education. And as you introduced me, I am a social entrepreneur because all of my work is about being socially conscious and about giving back. And I'm honored to do this work. I believe that I was called to do this at a very, very young age. Now, I'm sure some of my teachers didn't believe I was called to do anything, but get in trouble.
Yeah.
They was trying to love the hell out of me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I knew deep down inside it was some good. And then when I worked on my doctorate, I'm like, oh, I'm researching people that were like me. I'm like, oh, I knew there was another group of us that was out here that was struggling.
You know what's amazing about what you're saying? When I was growing up, I was in high school and we're taking Spanish, right, in Jamaica. We're taking Spanish, and I'm going, why am I taking Spanish? We're not going to use Spanish. We don't use Spanish down here in Jamaica. So I was a class clown, so I was cloning around.
I could see that.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So the teacher said, Gilbert, what are you doing? I said, hey, I'm just trying to learn here. She said, what are you, an hombre or el burro? So el burro sounded strong and muy fuerte, right? So I said, el burro. The teacher said, I thought so. I thought so. You're a jackass.
Yes.
So ever since that day, man, I learned the difference.
It's interesting that you said it because in Maryland, where I'm currently living, there's a huge influx of two groups of people. There's a huge influx into the education field. A lot of folks are coming from Jamaica, and a lot of them are Spanish teachers.
Yes.
It's interesting to hear folks speak Spanish with the Jamaican accent. Then we have a huge Filipino population.
Yes.
That PBS actually did a documentary on this influx of Filipinos that are coming to the East Coast, man. So, my work was, it's interesting, man. When I think about getting started, I remember when I walked away from education, traditional education. I came through a program called Teach for America. They recruited me out of Chicago. I went to school in Mexico in a place called Saltillo. I don't know if you heard of Coahuila, which is the state of Coahuila. And, Spanish I knew was a growing, within my family, and lived in Puerto Rico. But I knew there was always something bigger out there for me. But when I walked away, there was this fear that this is all I could do. And then my eyes were just open wide when I got on the road, and I'm like, people are paying me to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm making more money doing that, and I have a level of freedom. And so it's been a great journey, but I've been able to be super creative in my approach to education. I think that's why our company, the Cambio Group. Well, let me back up. I started a company called the Urban Leadership Institute first.
Right.
And just to show you, my partner and I, we were in business for 11 years. We thought about starting a nonprofit, and there's a debate about nonprofit versus for-profit. People thought we were a nonprofit.
Right.
But all my buddies in my circles who had nonprofits started to fall apart. Well, one of my business advisors, I'm going to name drop, you guys might have known him, his name is Randy Pinkett. If you don't know him, he was the first, actually the only African-American, I think, to win on The Apprentice. He was the first season. He was a tall, thin.
Yeah,
so Randy who's an engineer. He's from Jersey.
Well, I don't really know him, but I know of him.
So Randy was the one. He was like, he and Randy and Dr. Robinson, Jeff Robinson, who are great friends. He was like, yo, man, he said, I'm going to be real clear. There's a whole bunch of folks that don't look like you all making a lot of money. And I'm going to leave it at that level.
Yeah.
He said, you do a fee for service, and there are people that will pay you for your gifts.
Yeah.
And so we decided that we create Urban Leadership Institute, but then my partner and I separated. David, we separated because he wanted to focus a lot on the people that look like us. Now, of course, I can walk into a space, but what I noticed that the people that didn't look like me were the ones that were struggling with kids that look like me.
Yeah.
And so how dare I not work with this population? Right. And so we created this company called the Cambio Group, which you said, which means change. And so I moved, and I go back to Jay-Z. Jay-Z said this line. He says, they said, I'm going to keep it clean. He said, they said they made Hove, but I made a new Hove.
Right.
And I told my business partner, who I love and have a lot of respect, I said, this was not my best work.
Right.
So for anybody that's listening who is in a partnership with somebody and they think that they can, see, the reality, you can't hold greatness down.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like when you trying to hold greatness down, and this was my man.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, so why you want to leave? I want to say, Negro, you know why I want to leave. Be real. It's like we in a relationship and you say, well, Lamar, why you want to leave? Why I want to leave? All these men coming in the house and they ain't looking like me. You know why I want to leave.
Exactly.
And so I was like, yo, it's time to roll. Yeah. So we came up with this name Cambio, which was perfect, which meant change. And it was not only just about trying to change the lives of the people that I was coming in contact with, but I was going through this transformation because what I was noticing, I was only focused on, and for those young entrepreneurs out there, just don't focus on people that look like you.
That's right.
There's a whole bunch of people that don't, that skin are much lighter than us, that got checks, that cash, you know what I mean? Because some people that look like us, they you know about them post-dated checks?
That's what I'm
You know about the post-dated checks. Hold it for 5 days.
Oh, yeah.
I got 3 kids. Ain't no holding nothing for 5 days.
No.
And so I decided that I wanted to work with a larger audience of people, and it opened up. But I asked for it. But you got to be careful what you ask for. You know, you got to be careful what you ask for. And so we've been doing this work for, I want to say about, ULI was 11 years. So Cambio Group was probably about 6 years. And I've spoken at the White House under the Clinton administration, under Obama. When Obama came in, I was a part of the transformational leadership team around education. We've written curriculum. I wrote a book with Tupac Shakur's mother, Afeni Shakur, because I'm a lover of hip hop. And I'm like, yo, I said, kids love hip hop. Let me add an intellectual twist to it.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so kids was like, I said, we could look at a video, we can break down a Talib Kweli or a Jay-Z or a 50 Cent song and teach kids how to write. I'm like, because kids, let me tell you, any kid that can freestyle off the top of his or her head without a paper is a genius. Listen, if somebody take this phone right here, my whole life is in its numbers from everything. I can't remember a thing. And you freestyling, and a teacher said, this kid got special needs. No, teacher, you got special needs.
You know what's amazing? If you know anything about Jamaican singers and DJs, that's all we do, freestyle.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the popular singers were freestylers. And the reason we thrive in that environment is because growing up, in order to survive, you gotta clash, you gotta freestyle, and the one who is the strongest freestyler is the one who gets by.
Well, Jamaica, Africa, because Africa and Jamaica vary, and then when you talk about Latin America, so you got the dance hall, you got the Jamaican sound, the call and response. You got reggaeton that's coming out of Latin America. You have music coming out of Africa. And it's about call and response. Like when I give my lectures and talks, I said 3 things I want y'all to think about. If you ever been to a hip hop concert, a black church, or a barbershop, and it's about call and response.
That's right.
That's how languages are taught, right? It's like call and response. And so again, when you infuse culture, culture is so important, and there's a whole bunch of people who don't look like us who making a lot of money off culture.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so it's important for us to sort of hold on to something. You got 3 people, 3 different cultures. You're talking about diversity.
Yes.
You look at this right here, but have a strong, rich history. But then do we control the messages. And so when you look at what's happening in Jamaica, are we controlling the message? When you look at what's happening in Latin America, when you look at what's happening in African American countries, we have to really control that message, but then also control the image. And we also have to elevate those entrepreneurs. They need to tell their stories and understand if this were easy, everybody would do it. And so I'm in Palm Springs at a vegan restaurant, rapping to this Latin sister, having a great conversation, and she just breaks down in tears. And I go in there every time I come here, and she said, I'm just concerned about the business. And I said, let me just be real clear. The fact that you stepped out and if you only did it for a year, you did it. You did something greater than them haters behind you who said that you weren't going to do it. I said, you need to surround yourself with some strong women, because you know, when there's a woman forefront, our stuff is a little shaky. But women, you know, it's like if we decide to go on a trip together, like ain't nothing good gonna come out of our trip. Y'all got a whole itinerary. You got an itinerary. They know we gonna leave at 9 o'clock. We gonna do it. That's just not how we roll. But I was listening to her, and so I turned her on to some tools. I said, there's a great show I love. There's a show called Impact Theory. I love the show Impact Theory because it's about elevating individuals who are doing great. I talked about my man Gary Vee, who I love, who's talking about crushing it. He's giving you very, very specific strategies. I gave her some tools that she can use on her phone and see, but she hadn't surrounded herself with entrepreneurs. She surrounded herself with people who were like, well, if it don't work out, no, it ain't no plan B. This is it. This is ride or die.
That's it.
I get that's huge. As an entrepreneur, you absolutely got to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs, because you can have people that love you and support you, where there's family and friends in it, but if they're not entrepreneurs, if they don't have their own business, they really do not get it. They don't get it. They don't get the struggle. They don't get it. They don't get the ideas.
Sacrifices.
They don't get
like my mother still think I'm a teacher. She don't really know what I do. Like she's like, so you're not a teacher? I'm like, no. I mean, in a sense I am. But again, you got to surround yourself with strong-willed people and understand that failure is success, that you're learning throughout the process. That's it. Somebody has taught our kids that failure is not an option. Everybody that I know that's been successful has failed at something. I mean, you look at the Apple computer. You look at Apple. This dude started the company. How you start the company and then you get fired? I mean, think about how humbling that was. Think about that. You get fired from a company and his ego dropped, but then during that time he was off, he was still creating. And for those entrepreneurs that are waiting for something to happen, don't just wait for something to happen. Make it happen. There's so much technology. I mean, this little device, this phone, this thing right here is amazing. Tons of apps on it, that anything that you can actually do. And so again, it's nothing like working for yourself.
And that's a great point you just brought up, because I'm always telling my clients that people who are waiting for opportunities, I say waiting for an opportunity is waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes.
No.
So you're going to be sitting here waiting and waiting. Today's here. You got to make the best of what you have today. So that's really in concert with what you're saying.
And then going to, there's tons. I mean, your show is a great example. There's some great podcasts. I have a podcast called Sound Bombing, where I sort of elevate these, because I got some dope friends in my circle. And people just don't know them. But when they hear their story, they're like, yo, they're doing this and they're doing that. I'm like, there's some great people doing, and they're not on Inc. magazine or Fast Company. Two good magazines I'm throwing out to entrepreneurs: Inc. magazine, Fast Company. Two of my favorite magazines. Wired is another really, really good magazine. But again, you got to read. You got to read. Most of the books that I'm reading now is not about education, because teachers got the pedagogy. My work is about being self-aware, also about building and maintaining relationships. And so if you can build and maintain relationships, then you can definitely grow a business. And then also this whole word of mouth is still the best thing. I tell people, when Harriet Tubman freed all of my ancestors, and there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there was none of that. It was word. I heard this woman Harriet is freeing some folks. There wasn't no, you got on Twitter. Didn't nobody come out with a song and like, yo, homegirl Harriet. No, it was word of mouth. And you cannot beat that word of mouth. And I look at the majority of the business that I've gotten, it's not even just from my Twitter feed, or it's not just from, my website. It was really just word of mouth.
You know why word of mouth is so strong? Because not only are you getting a message, you're also getting a testimonial with
Indeed.
that. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's so strong.
Indeed.
Because you're hearing this stuff and you're going, oh, wow. And this person, oh, you got to go do it. I did it or my cousin did it.
Yeah.
That's a testimonial right there.
Indeed.
You see what I mean?
Indeed.
So that's why it's so strong, man. Unbelievable.
Definitely. Word of mouth is very powerful. And using what's available to us, like that's free, right? Like you said, the phone there's so much we can do.
So
I have a Facebook Live show I have on every week as well. And it's been my biggest platform in either getting clients or just connecting and even creating relationship because of the way I do it, right?
Yeah, that social media is amazing. I mean, I remember, Anissa and I was joking about it. I remember Kevin Hart with Periscope. Like, nobody knew what Periscope was.
No.
But Kevin Hart with every city, because like me, I'm really into fitness and taking care of this tempo as well.
Yeah.
And Kevin would go on Periscope, this is before Facebook Live and all this, and he's a runner.
Yeah.
And he would tell people, come and run with me. And people didn't, I mean, he was building followers. He said, we're not going to be out there. I'm not going to be telling jokes. I'm sure he did because that's his personality. But he was encouraging a group of people to run.
Yeah.
So he would come to LA or he would go to Philly or he'd go to Maryland or whatever. And he would get people he was using social media. And so, again, it ain't about trying to be on social media, talking about because because then the researcher comes out of me because in social media, now they have this whole concept about this whole Facebook depression.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at my sister right here and I'm looking at all the stuff that she has, or at least from what she's showing me. And then I'm looking at myself. The greatest way to drive yourself insane is by judging yourself through the eyes of other individuals, even with their businesses. And you're saying, well, why does he have so many clients, or why does she have so many clients? Well, why don't you ask that person?
Yeah.
And they may be not running the business the way that you think that they're running. And so, again, social media can also switch some things around, but use it. I mean, you got your phone. You can plug it in. You can have a conversation.
Yeah.
You can drop a couple of jewels to some people. You can either read other people's stuff and share other people, but at least you're giving some type of information to the listeners that are out there. We know in this country, small businesses run this country. That's why during election time,
that's true.
They talk about the larger corporations, but the majority of the debates that exist are centered around small businesses. That's why it's important for us to support these small businesses up and down this boulevard, keep your money in your neighborhood. And if you are a person of color, like 3 people, our money goes directly out, and we wonder why our neighborhoods look the way that they do.
Exactly.
So spend your money, recycle that money, flip that money right in your neighborhood, and then also buy from people that look like you, not taking away from other people, but again, other culture. Like, I was in a meeting with a group from Korea, man. I'm watching these Koreans break down at the World Trade Center, breaking down the connections. Korea at one time was they were number 2 of the worst countries in the world after the war. Now their gross national product is number 7. And so we should study, well, what are they doing in Korea? What are they doing that we're not doing? Instead of just hating on them, we hate on Nigerians. You know how Nigerians are strong business people. And so, again, instead of hating on them, look at them. We look at the Latino community. Folks are like, Latinos don't work no harder than anybody. They just know I ain't trying to go back.
That's right.
If you understand, that's the thing.
That's right.
My motto with one of my partners, he said, man, I'm trying to work to get out the basement. That's like an inside joke. But you know what that means. He ain't trying to stay in the basement forever.
That's right,
so what is your goal? Set some very, very specific business goals. Set some very, very specific personal goals. And making sure that they don't clash with one another. And then you got to do it. Don't wait until this whole, I'm going to wait to January 1st and then January 2nd don't mean anything, right? If you want to start today. And so making those goals, those personal goals, making those business goals, finding yourself a mentor either virtually, getting connected to the Women's Small Business Association. If you're a particular race or culture, Latina women's, African American or Korean association, surround yourself with some people and stay away from them haters that most of them are folks that share our bloodline, right? Got to make your haters your motivators, right?
That's right.
Because their family will kill you. Right. They will kill you.
You are listening to the Business Zone with Dr. Shields. This is unbelievable. Dr. Shields are a very special, inspirational guest. And my super co-host here,
Sandy Lou Guerrero.
Sandy Lou.
Rolling those tongues.
Am I saying it right?
Yes. Guerrero. And of course, Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Let's take a break. We're at the top of the hour. Take a break.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
I'm going to tell a story. Mm-hmm.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Sandy Lou Guerrero,
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and our very special inspirational guest,
Lamar Darnell Shields in the building. Bo, bo, bo.
That's what we're talking about. North shot.
Yeah. We are here live and direct. But we were off the air. We were talking about reinvestment. I was sharing a story about Russell Simmons. You guys know Russell Simmons, the hip hop guru. Mm-hmm. You know his brother Run, and he has an older brother whose name I just can't think of. Who's the artist? He's the oldest. He's a painter, amazing painter. And I remember when Russell Simmons got started, he borrowed $1,000 from his older brother, and for a party to make flyers and all that. And so he made the money back, and his brother asked him for the $1,000. He said, "Oh, I haven't made my money back." So he had to teach his brother, like, even though you gave me the $1,000, I haven't made the money back. I have your $1,000 back, but I haven't made the money back. So what Russell was talking about, we got to then reinvest in ourselves. Like we have a curriculum line, several books that we use. So. You know, I don't wait to the last minute till all the books are gone in the warehouse. You know, I'm constantly reinvested. We have books that we've written. We have cards that we actually use. We have curriculum that we actually use. We have DVDs and things of that nature. And so it's about reinvesting back into the community, into your business. One thing I will say, I've never had to take out a business loan. I've never had to do that.
That's great.
Which most people have. And I'm not against that. I've just never had to do it. I've always given 10% back to. I started a school for boys called the Paul Robeson Academy at Johns Hopkins, where I used to teach specifically for Black and Latino boys. Because again, if I'm out talking about how do we engage these boys of color, I needed to have a school in the base for it. And then we started working with the parents because the parents needed strategies on. They wanted to run a business. And like I love Shark Tank and I love Damon John. I got a chance to meet Damon John through a buddy of mine. And Damon John says, when you're on Shark Tank, he said, "Tell me, if this is a business, let's run it like a business. If it's a hobby, call it that. This ain't a hobby. Like what I do is not a hobby. So when people say, 'Hey, I want to do what you do,' so what do I do? Well, I don't know. You're speaking on stage, you're motivating people. I said, no, that's not what I do. That's what you see. The work becomes before I get out there. Like Oprah talks about. Everybody that I know that says Oprah runs one of the best machines. But you know what she said? The best machine is ran is SNL. She said when she went to Saturday Night Live, and you can see why they've been on 20 plus years. Oprah said, now this is Oprah. She said when she went to Saturday Night Live, she could not believe how organized, succinct that system, but they put systems in place. So another recommendation for an entrepreneur, you gotta put systems into place and make sure that you stay as consistent as possible. If you don't, but then also I want to provide a little wellness for my entrepreneurs who are working like crazy. Like I see this, look how beautiful this sister is. Fly right there. And I'm sure that's some work, right? Yeah. You don't get out the bed looking like, hey, ta-da, here I am. And so again, when you're running a business, I tell people the first thing that you do in the morning, don't grab this phone. You want to be in a place of gratitude because you're waking up, you're starting your new day. When you grab this phone, Jim Quick talks about how in the morning when you grab your device, you become reactionary. So we're running our businesses. You want to see how things are going. But let me tell you, 5 or 10 minutes can save your life. So when you wake up, and I'm saying to my entrepreneurs, because we're working 24/7, don't grab this first thing in the morning. Have some type of either meditation, prayer, or gratitude. Gilbert, what I'm learning from some of the most productive people on the planet, the people, because I'm studying them. I'm studying the Jeff Bezos. I'm studying Pharrell. I'm studying Ice Cube. I'm studying Michael Jordan. All of them have this ritual. They have a ritual in the morning when they wake up. They either do prayer, meditation, they do a level of journal writing, and they spend some time just being reflective and being in a place of gratitude. Then they get to this. But if you open up your phone, you become reactionary and you're responding to everything that's happening. So to my entrepreneurs out there, you got to take care of yourself. There's so many of us who are giving up hope. We're committing suicide. We're drinking. We're taking on tons of all behaviors, from sexual behaviors to eating disorders to using drugs or TV or anything, other devices. So I'm encouraging you to have a morning ritual and at the end of the day, and then remove yourself from places. Like even when you're eating, don't eat and be on your phone. Be mindful of the food that you're eating. Be mindful of how it's going down. I'm guarantee your day will be much better. See, people don't want to hear that. They want to know. They want to know how much they're making, how much Pharrell is making. They want to know how much. They want to know how much Google is making. But they don't. What they don't know about all these people, they all get rituals. Then what I also love about these guys and girls who are very successful. They typically wear like the same stuff. That's right. Think about that. That's right. They wear the same. I mean, they probably got 20 shirts like that. But typically, because they're not wasting their thought time on what to wear. Look at Obama. Look at Obama right now. Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah, and so he's not focusing. He's not focusing on that. He's focusing on the message. Spend your time developing your message. Be succinct with your message. If you see me and you got 30 seconds, that's it. Yes. That's all. You don't have to explain. Give me your 30-second spiel. Practice this at home. Yeah. For those who have social media or a phone, look yourself in the mirror. Yeah. Your 30-second spiel. Keep going over it more and more, and then you become the expert. But we got to take care of ourselves.
This brings me to my next point about the Praise College Readiness Program that you do there in Baltimore for the African American and Latino males. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we started. So first of all, it's named after Paul Robeson. If you don't know Paul, they're actually about to do a film about him, which is long overdue. Paul Robeson went to Rutgers. He was a Phi Beta Kappa, black man. Phi Beta Kappa. That means he got all A's throughout college. He was a captain of the football team. Yeah. He then decided, once he graduated from Rutgers, he went on to Columbia to become a lawyer. Wow. Paul had this powerful baritone voice. Paul Robeson would be like the modern day, maybe James Earl Jones, a mixer with a Denzel Washington, very socially engaged. Yeah. Decided he didn't even want to do that. He wanted to become a singer. Yeah. Spoke 22 languages. 22. Wow. Traveled all over the country, lecturing. Hated America because the way that they treated black and brown people. So they snatched his passport, wouldn't let him back in. Yeah. He said, I'm singing in these halls and all the white folks are sitting in the front while the Negroes come through the back. Wow. Something is wrong with that. Yeah. So in honor of his spirit, we decided to create a school named after Paul Robeson, named after this man of color who was an amazing scholar who grew up in Princeton, New Jersey. And my young people had to know who he was, and who he strived to become. He was a social activist before it was a name. Trailblazer. He was a tall dude, smooth brother, dressed really, really sharp, had a powerful voice, loved his wife, always talked about his wife, had one son who I got a chance to meet before he transitioned. If you walked into my house, two things you're going to see: a quote by Bob Marley, "Everywhere is war," and you'll see a picture of Paul Robeson.
Yeah.
And so we created the Saturdays. We shut down 2 years ago just because my schedule just got too hectic.
Yeah.
So we ran it for about 12 years. And so we graduated about 150 young men of color who've gone on to do the great things. But again, I put 10% back into the business along with my partner, David, at the time, to invest. So we didn't have to ask for people for money.
So when they graduate, is there a program set up for them to transition into?
No, so once we take them from middle high school and then we release them. And then if they want to come back and volunteer, we do that. We just didn't have the resources to continue to do that work. But I'm still in contact with a lot of those young men. Some have done well, but then, the streets, man. Streets are hard. This infatuation with the streets, regardless of what you're pouring into your kids, the fact is some things on the streets is attracted to them. And so regardless of how much we're pouring into them, they're still getting these messages from social media that your son of color, because his accent, he has a better chance of going to jail than going to Harvard.
Right.
Your son or your daughter, because of her accent, has a better chance of becoming a stripper than going on to Yale or Brown University. And so my work is about shifting that headlines of how, in particular, boys of color, that's not all I work with, but since that's what my research was, I really want to focus on that. And so now, most of the work around the country I'm doing is around equity, not financial equity, but equity for all kids, equity for kids who are not getting what they need. And when we say equity is giving every kid what they need. Equality is giving everybody the same thing. And that's the problem. And if I came in here and gave all you guys a bottle of water and you already have one, you're saying, why does she need a bottle of water? That's equality. Equity is about, do you need some water? Giving you what you actually need. And so I'm on a road right now from Palm Springs to Temecula, then I'm going to South Bend, Indiana, talking about what could we do to make sure children, all children, be it gay or straight or children with autism or any other learning disability or a girl or a boy, making sure that they get what they need. It ain't an easy message because I'm making people pull back what they've been dealing with. So I'm pulling this back. Even though they're teachers, some teachers don't like Latinos. Some teachers don't like black kids. Some teachers don't like girls. And so my work, I call it heart work because this issue around race, man, is heart work. Not H-A-R-D, H-E-A-R-T, it's heart work. And when your heart is damaged, and I look at you because you have an accent, I listen to you, I'm thinking about what you've taken from me, and you haven't taken anything.
Right.
You haven't taken anything. But I'm just thinking of the possibility. And so that's sort of where my work has shifted. So a lot of the work that I'm doing now is centered around equity. And it's been fun. I enjoy it, man. Having conversations about race culture in class, that's why I love Chris Rock. It ain't as hard as it has to be. If you're coming from a safe space, we can have these conversations about all three cultures because all our coaches have some crazy folks. We all got that, we got Theo in La Casa that's Abuelita who's still, drinking a little something shouldn't be drinking anymore. We all got that.
At Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, yeah. We got that one cousin in Jamaica, you heard he was touched, or your grandfather called him touched, but he was gay, right? He called he was touched, right? He said he was touched, whatever that means. So we all got that stuff in our family. And so let's talk about it and let's put it on the table, and then we're done with it.
And the thing about it is with that, building the equity is before we build that equity, we want to know your capacity so we can build your capacity so you can sustain that equity when you get it. Because we don't want to offer you the opportunity to get equity and then you get and you lose it. You see what I'm saying? So
and I think that's the bigger question is how do we get people to see what their capacity is? And I think sometimes they're so caught up in a limiting belief that because of what society has told them or the limiting beliefs that their parents have told them, that their family has told them, that they don't realize what their capacity is. And I know that for me, I learned it a lot later in time, and maybe my life would have been different by this point had I learned it at a younger age. I'm grateful for my learning experiences. Now I support other people in it because I learned it, firsthand, right? But there's a lot of people out there that don't know their capacity, that don't have a clue of their potential, or the fact that they are worthy of having whatever their heart desires. It's how in your journey, how have you been able to break that barrier with the people that you're working with?
Well, one of the things is it's telling people that you are not your story, and you have the opportunity to shift that vocabulary, but it's then providing them with the proper vocabulary and tools. A lot of us are so broken because of the homes that we've come from. A lot of us are dealing with, when I was at Hopkins, I focused a lot on trauma. A lot of us are dealing with secondary trauma that some of us have inherited trauma. Some of us, because of what the media has said about us, we don't believe that we're even deserving. I mean, think about this.
Yeah.
There's a great film I love, and I'm saying this to you with what is my girl name? America Ferrera. Why Women Have Curves, about the Latina woman who wanted to go to college, and she was like, "Oh, Latina, we don't go to college. We take care of the family."
Yeah.
So somebody's limited that and believe. There's a Native American kid who's like, "Oh, we don't leave the res. We do this." And so with my approach is, in particular, if I'm talking to young people or adults, I know that that's a narrative in somebody's family. So I'm not trying to step on abuelita's toes or your uncle or your cousin's toes, but that does not have to be your story.
Right.
That's a story that's a part of who you are. But as Kendrick Lamar says, it's some other stuff that's in your DNA that they may not even know that actually exists. And so that's why that self-talk is really, really, really important. Is seeing images. There are some great magazines. My mentor in Louisiana, she said she's a sociologist. She said so back in the day, they had Ebony magazine and Jet magazine, and it was out in the 50s and the 60s. And I said, why did you become a sociologist? She said, I saw a guy by the name of Alvin Toussaint. Now, people don't know. People can say whatever they want to say about Dr. Bill Cosby. But when he created the Cosby Show, he had a guy named Dr. Alvin Toussaint. If you look at the Cosby Show, he had a black sociologist, as a consultant on the show, because Bill Cosby knew it was important to have these certain images of people of color that were there. So my mentor, Dr. Staten, said when she saw this guy in a magazine as a little girl from the South living on a farm, she had never seen a black person. That's why his image is important for Latina women, girls, to see you, to touch you, to know that you're real, to know that you exist. And it's important for us to go back. It's important for you to go back to the Caribbean when you hear those kids' accents. It's important for them to know that the possibility that exists. Because again, they don't lifestyle. But if you've never seen a man, you can't be a man. So you're gonna make it up in your mind. If you've never seen a woman, you're gonna make it up in your mind. And so I see a lot of these false images that are existing, but then giving them a different vocabulary, working on yourself. A lot of folks don't want to do. They want to know, well, how much money can I get? But listen, if you're a fool with $10, you're gonna be a fool with $10,000. Because if your mindset has not shifted, then you're gonna be careless with what you have. Right. And so again, if you can be faithful, as they say, over something small, when the things start to roll, it's gonna be real easy because you've done the small things. And so stop retelling that story. Because it's this. You're talking to somebody and be like, well, but we're first generation, right? Well, grandma is in jail. Well, my father. Yeah. That ain't your stuff.
Self-defeating.
That ain't your story. It don't have to be your story. But then also, you got to give back. The people that have the most on this planet are the people that give the most. And I'm not talking giving because the government said you got to give. All right. That's a different type of giving. Right. We're talking about people who give because they know it's the right thing to do. And it's the best thing to do. Right. And so that's what I love. When I'm in places, I'm constantly giving, man. I keep food in the back of my car that we haven't eaten, snacks. My kids, they get the whole process. We're going to give it because we're going to see somebody that might need it. And so even for those entrepreneurs, your children are watching you.
Yes, that's
They
true.
watching you. They know what, they may not know the word entrepreneur, but they, like my kids, I don't think they know what I do to this day. They just know checks clear. They just know that tuition can be paid. Work. They know I leave and walk out. Like my mother was trying to ask me about my sister Anissa, like, so is Anissa going to work? I'm like, Mom, when Anissa wakes up, she's working. Like my mother old school, like when she walked in the building, well, that's just the building today where the meeting is taking place. But that ain't where she going. Well, did you have a good work day? I'm like, yeah, Ma, she working when she wakes up. She ain't punching no clock. It's different. No judgment because they have a totally better, in my opinion, my mom and that crew, their work ethic is so much different. We ain't got no loyalty. No loyalty to companies at all. No. We jump around. We done had 5 jobs. I think it is.
Because we've helped them over the years to get rich, and we're still down here being worker bees.
Oh my gosh!
So we gotta learn, and that's where most of us become entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
people become entrepreneurs.
I like that, entrepreneurs. I like that. I'm like, what is he talking about? Is that a new word that I ain't never heard of?
Entrepreneurs for 3 things. 1, because they may have some funds that they can do it, and they wanted independence. 2, because they're working in a situation where it's not getting any better, and they're recognizing that, hey, I'm helping that guy to become rich, and I'm never going to see richness. So you venture out. And the third one is because you know for sure that they don't give us opportunities.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a foreigner like us, where we came here,
Indeed.
70% of entrepreneurs are immigrants.
Yes, I know.
70%. So we come here, we're not getting opportunities, and the only way to create opportunities is to become entrepreneurs.
We create our own
So
opportunities.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the three ways.
Say that word again, man.
Entrepreneur.
So you make me think. I don't know why I can't think of the movie. Boots Riley from Cali, Oakland, did the movie. There's something about the, you call them worker bees, the worker horses. Why can't I think of the name of the movie about working? Danny Glover was in it recently. Boots Riley, the hip hop artist. Why can't you know the name of the movie? I gotta find that movie because it's a great movie about business. All right, Denise, you gotta look that movie up. Boots Riley. It just came out. I saw it this summer about when he was changing his voice to talk like a white person.
Yeah.
Oh, why can't I think of the name of that movie,
I
man?
want to see it now.
Oh, you got to see this. You got to see this movie.
It's called Hello White Man or
something
like that.
Talk to Me. Anisha, you gotta look it up for it. You gotta look it up for it. So Boots Riley, it came out this summer. You know the name of it?
I remember it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that guy was funny.
But Danny Glover is in it. The guy who was from Get Out,
the main, put on your white voice.
Put on your white voice. The guy that was from Get Out. I mean, the guy was from Get Out.
Yeah.
He's from ATL. But the movie, it was one of the best movies that existed.
Yeah.
But people missed the message, and it was about these folks putting on these fronts for these individuals. But then in the end, they were making these workhorses out of people.
Yes.
They were making these, and then the workhorses eventually attacked the other workers because they were being taken advantage of. I cannot believe I can't think of this. It's going to come.
Tell
Come on, producer, editor. I know you got the name of it. Somebody can tell me. But I thought about that because you're talking about how people, I mean, these are modern day plantations. I'm looking at, my cousin just talked about Ford. He worked for Ford.
Yeah.
And he said, man, Ford he said, that's a place for a young man. And he's at 40 years old. He's like, dude, they get you in because they give you all this money and you're buying all this stuff. And then they keep you there because you know you got to live that lifestyle. But you can do the same thing as an entrepreneur.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, so this phone, a business card, and a website, Wix or whatever, all these other websites, you can design your own website.
Yeah.
You can connect with a young person who could design a website, take the little dude out, buy him a pair of Jordans or whatever. Because you know these little savvy tech kids, man.
Oh yeah,
they are.
Aren't they?
When I started, I was asking my niece and my nephew that are younger, the 16, 15,
oh yeah, they're
early
the best.
20s. Like I would say, hey, how do you do this or how do you use that? Or
Millennials.
Oh, they even younger than the millennials. I mean, I think this new it's called like the Z generation. I mean, they just change. They're gonna run out of letters eventually. But again, that's a piece of advice. If you are afraid of technology, young people, but I have this theory: 25 and under. That's the only people I use that allow take pictures of me and my friends. Because when you're 25 and younger, you know what to do. Other folks be like, I'm like, no, give me somebody that's under the age of 25 that can take pictures. So again, understanding what technology, using some of those tools, is really, really important to being successful in business. How do you accept payments? That's really, really important. Either you're going to use QuickBooks or you're going to use the Cash App. There's so many different ways that you can receive, funding. Like I travel around. I got my Cash App. I got it right here. You want to buy some books? Because the reality is, I believe like FUBU, 100% goes in. I'm gonna get it back out there.
That's
right. So again, I just interviewed. We talk about entrepreneurs. I just interviewed Frank McComb, a jazz artist, and Frank is 100% entrepreneur, 100% own his own business, Grammy Award winning jazz artist. But man, he controls all of his stuff.
That's how it's
everything. Prince was let me tell you, Prince was the best, and I love Michael Jackson. I was going there.
Yeah.
Prince was the best example because they wanted to own him.
Yes.
And he says, all right, I'm going to show y'all. Yeah. Y'all can have that. I'm going to be a symbol.
Exactly.
And owned 100%. Yes. So when you think, and as you guys are listening, and I know we're naming people who are wealthy, but they didn't start that way. That's what I think that we forget.
Yeah.
When we look at Steve Jobs and we look at all the Google and all the folks from all the social media, they didn't start that way.
Did not.
And so again, look at their lives as their process and how they grew. We want to go to the end.
Yeah.
We don't want to see what's in the middle.
Yeah.
We want to see the stuff that people have, but we don't want the sacrifice it took for. We never ask people that stuff.
Yeah.
We never ask them. So tell me
your journey.
Tell me your journey.
Yeah.
Tell me a moment that you want to give up.
Yeah.
Tell me, what did you do when you got there and electricity was not on?
Yeah.
When payroll, this real stuff.
Yeah.
When payroll, as an entrepreneur, you pay your staff before you get paid.
That's right.
And so again, that's what this dedication. And there were many days when I ran the company that, and of course, my wife, she struggled with that. You just said it.
Oh yeah.
You paying them? I said, but they're keeping this thing moving,
they don't understand
and mine
that.
is eventually going to come.
Yeah.
Now, if it was 20 years doing that, now you got to look for something else. But this ain't working out, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
Also, it's the law that you have to pay your employees, no matter what's going on. You got to pay them. Now, the next thing that I wanted to put out there is, why should we work for someone where we got to ask them for a raise when we can work for ourselves and create our own raise?
Unlimited. Yeah,
you see what I mean?
There's no limits to the income you can make.
That's what I'm
versus
saying.
your ridiculous 2% that a lot of companies go with.
Exactly. Because the thing is, as an entrepreneur, if you want to get a raise, all you got to do is go out and get a contract. Go get a contract.
Get a contract.
So I got the film. Sorry to bother you. Sorry to bother you. You got to check out Sorry to Bother You. Boots. What's interesting, Boots Riley, the guy who did it, he's from Oakland.
Yeah.
He was in a hip hop group called The Cool. It took 20 years for him to do this film.
Yeah.
But Sorry to Bother You, I want you guys to check that out because it's a really, really good film about entrepreneurship. This guy whose girlfriend didn't believe in him, but he eventually sold himself out.
Yeah.
And so, but it's about you call them worker bees. He talks about horses.
Yeah.
I took my daughter. There's a scene in there with when these people were turning into horses. My daughter was horrified. Like she came out, she didn't really understand that part.
Yeah.
But at 16, she was able to understand what was happening to these people. They were working so much harder for us. I mean, you think about that.
Yeah.
You're literally working harder for that other person than yourself.
That's right.
And then when you working for yourself, you getting up at 11 and 12 o'clock. You can't get up at 10 and 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, let me share an experience. I mean, you're saying this right now, but a few years back, I had an experience where I was working day and night. Like, it was insane. The workload that I had was insane. The expectation was unreasonable. It was definitely a job for 2 to 3 people at least, minimum. And I remember venting to other people in the same position, without giving too much information, just different locations. And they're like, "It's okay, you'll be fine. Just give it a year." And I'm thinking, why would I give it a year? It's like not my business. Like to the extreme that I pushed myself because I was really trying to make this requirement. I triggered a thyroid problem that was like so extreme that I had suicidal thoughts, and I was like, because I already had done a lot of self-development, I was like, this doesn't make sense because the rest of my life's okay. I'm very good at processing things. This is not making sense. Unfortunately for me, I had people to go to that say, hey, you know what? Go check yourself. Something's off. I think your blood level, something's off. And once I was gonna quit. And I started looking for another job while I was still there. And I voiced my complaints or whatever. I mean, it was like a crazy story. They even paid me like tons of hours of overtime later once we spoke. But at the end, they let me go. I had time off. I had some time off. I no longer needed medication. My thyroid was back to normal. I haven't needed medication for thyroid anymore since then. And it was just like I was just making enough. I was working day and night. And I was going to do that for another year because it was going to get better. And that was the mentality of a lot of people there. And, I don't want to give too much, information about them.
You probably were missing your lunches and your breakfast too. Just to work
it was
for them,
it was
right?
just ridiculous. But a lot of people find themselves in that position. I think like, had I not done self-development, had I not been self-aware, had I not, already been coaching, had I not known those kind of things, who knows what would have came out of that.
That's such a great point you're bringing up.
And there's a lot of people that are out there that are doing really bad because they're not they haven't done that work in themselves. And I think that's so important as as a person, period, to invest in our well-being always.
And there are people, there's studies, research where people literally walked into their office space and just get sick. Their body, their stress level goes up just being around toxic individuals, being in that environment. But you gotta know what your threshold is. The great Parker Palmer, he's a researcher. He talks about when you know your passion and purpose is in line. He says when your soul and your role line up. So your role is, I'm a teacher, I'm a musician, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. He said, but your soul is what you love. I love to paint. I love to talk. He said, but when your soul and your role line up, like a V, that's your true vocation.
Yeah,
and that's what you were called to do.
Yeah.
And so you can look at people and they're walking in their truth.
Yeah.
They're loving it. When you look at their social media, they're not saying I'm going to work. They said I'm going to serve. They said I'm going to give back. So again, changing that vocabulary. So to hear you talking about, this is what happened to me. This ain't no research study. This was me.
Right.
My body started to fall apart. And unfortunately, there's some people who stay in that mess and they know it shouldn't be. Be real clear. There's some people, they just going to work for other people. And there's no judgment. But there's a group of us who are not going to do that. That we're in there, we're studying, we're learning. The one thing about me, Brother Gilbert, is that whenever I'm in any space, I want to know everything. So if this were my show, I want to know what the engineer is doing.
Yeah.
I want to know what the cameraman is doing. I want to know what the camera lady is doing. I want to know what that person is doing because they may not be here.
You're right.
And so I want to be able to do that on my own and to know it because then there may get a point where I need to be behind the scenes and then do that and I can sort of jump right in. And so know as much as, learn as much as you actually can. But if the job that you're in, for those that are listening that want to step out on faith, if that job is about to kill you, you need to get the heck up out of there real fast.
I hear that.
Because your well-being is more important. But just documenting, what's around you, just study. The thing is, it ain't that hard. Study success. Also study failure because there's some great things that have come out of that. You guys know the Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich. What he did was he just interviewed all of these wealthy people, the Carnegies, at that time, all these people that was making all this, Rockefellers. He interviewed them and he just discovered they all had something in common. That's all he did. We can do the same thing. Just look around with social media. You don't have to travel. This guy who did that book at the time, Napoleon Hill, he traveled all over. You have access to social media. Just study what the people are doing. I love Shark Tank. I'm telling you, I'm a Shark Tank junkie. And I'm just watching how people pitch. I'm watching how people how people respond to them. I'm watching who gets accepted. I'm watching who doesn't get accepted. I'm watching how some of them are coming out arrogant and thinking because they have this great thing that these people are going to accept it. Watch all those things and be mindful of how you sort of put those things to use.
I agree with you. We're at the bottom of the hour right now, and we're really going to take another break right now. And you're on the Business Zone. This is amazing, really enlightening. Now you know why he's an inspirational leader. This man, he's got so much information. I can't wait to get in his head on the other side of this hour. So let's go ahead and take a break right now. We're on the Business Zone with
Sandy Lou Guerrero,
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and
this is your man, Dr. Lamar Darnell Shields in the building, rocking my sound bombing shirt. Check me out.
Take a break.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
No, I mean, there's so much detail, right?
We're back.
But I think
we're back on the Business Zone with
Sandy Lou Guerrero,
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and
who am I today? LeBron James. LeBron in the building, L.A. Lamar Shields.
I hear you, Doctor. I hear you. So, Doc, since we're on the last 25 minutes of the show, what are some of the great words of wisdom you'd like to share with some of our audience listening out there? Some of them may be aspiring entrepreneurs who want to get started, and some of them may be existing entrepreneurs.
You know, just to be real clear, this is not easy work. As I said earlier, if it were easy, anybody would do it. I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. I didn't come from an entrepreneurial family. I come from a family where folks worked a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, I went to school, traveled all over the country. I always knew that there was something bigger than me that existed out there. And so one of the things that I did is I found, like I said earlier, found great mentors. I started to read more about business. I love magazines like Fast Company and Inc. magazine. I love those magazines because it's like young entrepreneurs. I go to tons of conferences. I'm a podcaster, so I'm now using my podcast as an extension of my work. It's called Sound Balming, which I'm wearing the shirt. And balming is a healing, BALMING. And I get a chance to meet and interview some cool people. But it's not easy work. And if somebody tells you that it is, then they are lying to you. As I said earlier, I'm grateful. I've never had to take out a business loan for my work. Business has been, by the grace of the Creator, gracias a Dios, I'm grateful that business has been great because of the line of business that I'm actually in. But I just study greatness. I study people who are doing it.
Yeah.
I attempt to model greatness the way that I see it. I attempt to elevate people that look like me because I think we're some of the dopest people on the planet.
Yeah.
And I think we have a lot to offer. But I am definitely upset that many of us as minorities have not decided to bring our resources together. And so again, I would encourage you to, find a mentor, start reading some great books. I mentioned some of the books earlier, some of the magazines. Look at some of the best apps out there, some of the business apps that exist out there, business podcasts. This is a great example. One, start sharing your story. Start networking, going to some of the events. And when I say networking, don't go in there being arrogant. Just listen. Just listen. Get yourself some cards. I mean, you can go to places like Vistaprint, get them for free. You can go, go Walmart. You can go to, many places to get your cards. They're really, really reasonable websites that actually exist. But then also, coming up with a business plan, putting something down on paper is very, very important to have a journal, like a business journal. Document some of the things. Talk about some of your challenges and some of your struggles. And then just surround yourself with people who want to see you win.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that many of us surround ourselves with people who are just haters, who don't want us to do well.
Right.
And like I said, I love what I do. The beautiful part about that, like I can see when you run a business, you can walk into a business meeting like this and with jeans. If you ain't, you can't do that. I love Russell Simmons. I said Russell Simmons can rock his Fat Farm gear at the time because he freaking owns a company. I tell young people, you can't walk into an interview sagging with your pants down and showing off your underwear, or as old school folks showing off your hind part, hair looking crazy. Once you own it, you can do that. And there's no judgment on that because some days I do want to dress like this. Some days I do. Then the last thing, the inspiration is that really pour into yourself. Spend some time with yourself. There's this whole old statement that says, don't just sit there and do something. But I say, don't just do something, sit there. Just be in the moment. Be in your time. Listen to your spirit. Listen to your pulse. And you'll know when this work is yours because somebody will say, hey, man, brother, it's time to go. It's 8 o'clock or it's 9 o'clock. And you're like, I thought I just got here. That's when you know you're walking in your gift. You're walking in it. And when you're doing it for yourself and not doing it for somebody else. There's a body of research when they research a group of painters, artists, and what they discovered that the painters, when they were hired to do, let's just say an installation, when they were hired to do it, they enjoyed it. But when they were doing their own work, time stood still. That right there was a job. This right here was a calling. And I said, when your vocation and when your soul and your role come together, that's your true vocation. and the money will follow. Believe me, don't lead with that. The money will follow, but just be mindful when it does follow. Are you able to manage the money that's going to come behind you? Right. One thing I love, I'm a huge fan of Dr. King and Malcolm X, and I love who they are and what they stood for. But I tell people all the time, they were horrible businessmen. Yeah. Dr. King died broke. It was your brother from Jamaica,
Marcus Garvey,
who talked about, giving back. It was your Jamaican brother, Harry Belafonte, who paid for Dr. King's funeral. People don't know that. And so Malcolm X died very, very broke. Yeah. Their life was somewhat different. Yeah. And then people just took off. The King family fighting over Dr. King's stuff. The Malcolm X's family fighting over his stuff. Yeah. And so again, be good stewards of the resources that you have. And believe me, watch the floodgates open. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
That's an excellent point you brought up, because in our teaching and our training, not only do we teach them to run their business and manage their business efficiently, but we also teach them about succession planning. You got to have a succession plan. And most people think of a succession plan that, okay, you're going to die, you're going to pass down your wealth or your equity. It's not about that. Succession planning means a lot of things. It could mean that, hey, I've grown my business to $40 million. Maybe I don't want to run the business anymore. Maybe I just want to sell it. Maybe I want to invest in something else. Or maybe I want to start grooming my kids or my siblings to run that business when I don't want to do it anymore. It's part of succession planning. Part of succession planning is also, okay, I want to gobble up those businesses over there. And when I gobble them up, we're going to take this resource and we're going to add that and we're going to bring them together. We're going to do these things. So that's succession planning right there. So that's another part that small businesses and entrepreneurs need to also
So it's interesting, when I was with the folks from South Korea, when we were in Baltimore, there's a guy who created a business. There's a different word of succession planning. Yeah. But what they're doing is there was so much money in Korea that the older folks who were dying off need to figure out ways to manage the money. And I met one of the guys. It's a new business model where they're coming in and they're helping them deal with their wealth, man. Yeah. They have so much wealth that what they're doing is what you're actually talking about. So he discovered that there's a business model that I can sort of take from that. Yes. While we're trying to create all the same stuff, there's so many ways, so many little things that you can think. The same guy creates these basketballs, footballs, baseballs, and he puts these faces of your children. Yeah. Believe me, nobody else. I said, dude, do not tell me. No. He said, nobody else is doing. We've cornered the market. I said, you mean you taking baseball, basketball, soccer balls, cricket balls, whatever, and you putting kids' faces? He said, man, you would not believe nobody was doing it. So he said, why not do it? So while we're trying to come up with the next big thing, we trying to just come out the gate with think of something that you needed, that that somebody else might have needed. You think about how all these many of these big businesses started. Everybody wants to start in the garage because that's the new thing. Start in the garage. They want to go out to the tech field and sell their company and rebuy. Yeah. Think of something that you need, and believe me, there's a whole bunch of other folks who needed the same thing, and then believe me, you'll make a whole lot of money, and you got to stick to it. Oh yeah, and the one book I want to mention is called One, The Power of One. It's like focusing on. It's called The One Thing. The One Thing. Yeah. If you didn't hear anything I said today, I want you to pick up the book The One Thing, and it's talking about. It's a red and white book, and I saw it in my barbershop. Yeah. My barber said you can take it. I haven't started reading it, and it changed my life about focusing on that one thing. Wow. What happens with a small business? We say, all right, I'm going to sell red shirts one day. Then I'm going to sell black shirts. I'm going to sell. Focus on that one thing. Yeah. Do it well, and then duplicate it.
See, the thing about that, many of us entrepreneurs, we get into the space, and we go, oh, I'm becoming an entrepreneur because I want to get rich. That's the worst reason to start a business. You got to start a business because there's a pain in the marketplace that you're going to solve. There's a pain. Yes. If there's a pain for red, you're going to stick to red because that's what the pain is that you're going to solve in the marketplace. And then the wealth will come. You see what I mean? So this is things that we tell them all the time. and get them focusing on that. Because if they're sidetracked and thinking about, okay, I want to drive a Mercedes, I want to do all of this, and they're not focusing on what the real reason is why they're in business, competition is going to come and just knock them out just like that.
Knock them out.
Yeah. I think entrepreneurship is very challenging. It takes a lot of time. It's commitment beyond convenience, beyond comfort. I mean, it's tough.
Oh yeah.
But if you love what you're doing, it changes everything, because you're more willing to go through that challenging time, to have that limiting resource and that sleepless night and all those different things. But if you choose to do something to get rich and it's not what you love, then you're in trouble, because it's gonna take time. Everything takes time. Not sometimes we have that one opportunity that changes and shifts everything, but until then, if you don't love what you're doing, you're kind of not. You're setting yourself up for failure, but not only failure, but quitting.
Yeah. Farrah Gray, my homeboy from Chicago, who actually lives here now, he wrote a book called Millionaire, another good book. He says when young entrepreneurs come to him or people who are looking for jobs, this is his advice. He says, "What do you do that's challenging for other people to do, and what would you do if there was no check connected to it?" So, what would you do that's challenging for other people to do, and what would you do if there was no check connected to it? And this is what I'm loving. I will do this. When I wake up and I step on those stages, or if I'm in small environments with young people or adults, I love what I do. I tell them, if you ain't having a good time, that's on you, because I'm having a good time. You don't blame the DJ because he's not playing your music. If you like to dance, you going to dance, right? Be real clear. We got, we like dancing our culture. So don't blame the DJ. If you're coming to the party to dance, then dance. So in his book, Millionaire, he talks about that. Finding what your passion is, loving it, and if there's no money connected to it and you like to do it, then there's somebody that will pay you to do that.
That's right.
And then you go after that and you corner the market.
When I talk to, I love going to speak at the high schools, but when I speak to young people, I always tell them, education is different for everyone, and maybe college is not for everyone, but you have to educate yourself regardless. Whatever you want to do in life to succeed, you have to educate yourself in that field in one way or another. You've got to know everything you can about that field, but pick something that you love and find a way to monetize it.
That's it.
There's always a way. There's always a way. And if you don't know it, then that's where mentors come in, and coaches, and just going to workshops like the ones you have. Ideas pop up left. I'm like, I have the craziest entrepreneur mind. Like, I'm like looking forward to this.
My mind is racing all the time.
I see everybody's like, oh, I know where they could go with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Like, I can't wait to get this done, the one thing, so I could do this other thing. And then when I get that,
I'm telling you, I watched a show called Long Island Hustle. I don't know if y'all saw Long Island Hustle. It's about seven Italian dudes, man. They look like they could be some old school mafia cats.
What are they called?
It's called Long Island Hustle out of New York.
About 4 of them, right?
No, it's about 5 of them. Five of them. When these jokers sold, thinking of your idea, New York water. Like, I'm looking at this show. These jokers, now I've been to New York. They sat down as a team, and they said, what do people come to New York for? Pizza and bagels. What does pizza and bagels have in common? Water. New York water. These dudes sat down, hired a guy to create a machine. They were so lost that they wanted to. One little dude was so thugged out, he wanted to beat up. It was this guy who was a scientist. The scientist created the machine, but the dude was like, "We own it." He said, "No, I own the patent to this." So the guy was like, "No, we paid you $50,000. He said, "No, I own the patent." The guy was like, "I own the patent." But these guys sat there every time. The show was about, they sit down, they decide what they're going to invest in. But the funniest one I saw was about New York water. So these jokers are selling New York water. And I'm sitting like, ain't nobody going to buy that. This is what I'm saying to myself. Ain't nobody going to buy that. They're like, yeah, folks are buying. So they going around, they letting people taste the pizza, taste the bagels, and people like, this is amazing. I'm like, New York, like, no artesian water, not like going to like Colorado. You think of water, York, Colorado, maybe Wyoming, but New York water.
And it was selling,
and
right?
It's still selling. And so again, you might think it's food, but think about this: even selling water.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, be honest, where'd you get your water from? The water hose.
Yeah,
Come on now,
yeah,
that water hose water was a truth.
Exactly.
So somebody said, "Let me come up with the idea.
Yeah.
Let me put it in a bottle.
Yeah.
You think about being a kid. If I would have come to you and said, I'm going to sell you water, you'd be like, fool, you better get out of my face.
Yeah.
But somebody came up with the idea to then put a label on it and sold it back. Think about this, ice. Mm-hmm. Somebody is selling, so that means you're going to take a wet substance, you're going to freeze it, and you're going to, and I know some of y'all think like, you sitting like, man, he's right. Yeah. But it's basic stuff like that. Yeah. You think about Facebook, how it was started, in a room. How do we get people to communicate? Seems easy now, but it's like, okay, now it makes sense. Yeah. So when you're an entrepreneur, when you are the first gets beat up. Yeah. They get abused. They take the abuse. We forget about who they were.
They call them the sacrificial
lamb. We forget about who they were. Think about it, we forget about who they were. Yeah. But we benefit from what they're doing.
That's right.
And so dare to be the first. Yeah. Dare to be. When you in the Olympics, you ain't training to get a bronze. If you training to get a bronze, get out the race right now. Right. You are training to get the gold. If you don't get the gold, the silver and bronze is there. Yeah. But nobody pays a trainer. Like if we all trying to lose weight, we're not paying a trainer for us to gain weight, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm paying you since you became my trainer, I gained 50 pounds. Yeah. That's not what I want to do, right? I want to lose it. So again, entrepreneurship is about winning, finding some mentors, believing in yourself. Stop telling yourself that old narrative. That's your grandmama stuff. Yeah. That's your uncle stuff. That ain't your story. Yeah. Stop sitting on the couch, sitting on the sideline. This is a sport, not a spectator sport. Yeah. This is a marathon. It is not a sprint. This is all hands out there. And so you got it. I think you could do it. These two people right here, you got a life coach here. You got a brother who's over here teaching the class. I don't know what, you should have been called in, registered for the class. You should be, this your life coach. And she's cute too. Look at her. Right. You get a cute life coach. And this brother will cook you some good Jamaican food while you sit in this class. Baby. Come on, man. I'm trying to decide I can work on my Spanish with you. Get some coaching. I can eat some food
over here, right?
Come on, man. Y'all better get it down right now.
You know, it's amazing you mentioned those 5 dudes in New York. There.
Yeah, Long Island hustle, man.
Yeah, they came up with one where they had a watch with a little thing on it with a recorder. Uh-huh. So they put it on these older folks, right? Yeah. It took them to the casinos, and it would track their activities. Wow. So they didn't even know what it was going to do until they found out. And then, they start marketing it like crazy.
But they have a team. Yeah. They got a team. So, I mean, if you have a team of people, and sometimes they don't, I've only seen like 2 shows. Yeah. Sometimes everybody doesn't believe in it, but they're willing to put their money in. Yeah. And even if, and this is what you're talking about, people coming together. Yeah. All these guys know each other. They come from different areas. And if one of them, because one of the episodes, one guy couldn't put up the 10,000, they said, all right, we're going to put it up for you. Yeah. We're going to pay. That's what entrepreneurship is about. That's how small businesses stay in business together, is looping it back around and supporting each other. That's so it feels good to have a partner where you can come up with these crazy ideas like water and like depending on the note. You about to say something?
No, actually, as you were sharing about the water, I was remembering a story of my dad, God rest his soul, but I remember many, years ago, he was like, I was thinking of a business. He always had all these ideas, right? And, he was funny, so we thought he was crazy sometimes. And he was funny, He's all like, I'm going to start a business where you clean up people's dog poop. And I was like, we're like, oh my, you're crazy. We're like thinking he's crazy and we're laughing at him, right? So then later, maybe a few weeks later, I think it was on the news. Someone that charges to go, he's all like, hey, you got to watch the news. Somebody that charges to go pick up the poop from people's yards, like, for like senior citizens or, that they couldn't pick up their, and that's a, like a business idea that comes out of poop,
Yeah.
Literally.
Unbelievable.
So don't knock your ideas. I think sometimes that we overthink it.
Yeah. And sometimes the idea may seem really simple, but it's great. It's a great thing. It turns out to be something that's, it's very innovative, and you can make a lot of money on it. Mm-hmm. So, just like with T-shirts, when we first started T-shirts, people did some things with T-shirt, but now people are putting the designer and messages on it.
I just interviewed, I don't know if you know her name, it's Kalila Wright, who created a company called Mess in the Bottle. She'd be a great interview. Yeah. But Venus and Serena's ran her shirt. Yeah. You might have seen her shirt. It's called it says Queen rule like a king. She came up with all these messages right after the situation in Starbucks. She says, I like my coffee black without prejudice.
I love that.
And so again, it goes, I want to touch on what you said. I have to pull this up because I always forget. There's a great book out called The 5-Second Rule, which is by Mel Robinson. And she talks about, and your father lost out on it.
Yeah.
Because you only have 5 seconds. So your dad said, poop, you all laughed, you played him, you killed his dream. You're a dream killer. All right. You're a dream killer.
I didn't know.
You're a I know,
I know.
But think about that. So she talks about this 5-second rule. You only have 5 seconds to take that idea and put it down. Think about how many ideas that you've had in your business.
A lot.
When I created my show Sound Bombing, I was like, let me extend my message to the people that I work with. So let me just interview them. Let me let other people hear them. And I said, all right, let me extend my work around equity. Let me bring on other people. Let me bring on more Latinas or Latinos because we're working in this population. So I'm extending that. But that 5-second rule, Mel Robinson, pick up the book. I'll have no stock in the company. But I thought about that when you said that your dad came up with this idea and then somebody else. You think about doggy spot. First of all, in this city right here, folks love, I ain't going to mention who love them, but it's some people in this city who love dogs. They love their dogs better than other folks. And so again, this dream killer over here killed her daddy's dream. You could have been a millionaire. I could be sitting next to you like, this the woman whose dad was cleaning up poop.
See that?
Hey, it's funny that you mentioned it, but this last week I've been really thinking about, my dad had started a business and him and my mom passed away right when it was just starting to take off, and he tried to keep it going, but he struggled emotionally, so it didn't keep. But now I have a brother in Vegas, and I'm thinking, he's trying to figure out what he wants to do, but I'm like, I think that business is a really good business. So I'm really in the idea of
the pool business.
No.
Another business.
Another business. I'm going to keep it low key right now, but
that's what you do. Hold on to it.
But it's something that I've really been thinking about. How do I bring that back to life, because it was important to my parents, and the other is like how can I create it again and bigger and better so that my brother could sustain and do well for himself. But,
there's a reason why you're here on the show today.
Do it. 5-second rule. I want you to pick up the book. Mel Robbins.
It's like it's clear. It's happening. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but I know it's supposed. It came up for a reason.
5 seconds. I'm going to be calling you next week. Hey, 5 seconds. Did you move on?
Even if you don't mention the company, you just start. Even if you don't move, even if you don't mention the name of it, but you ask those questions. Are you doing it? You start doing it because. I mean, those ideas they come and go, and
definitely.
And there's really no new. We think it's new ideas. It's just new approaches to the same idea. But again, I joke the doggy business. Like coming out to LA, I was here. I'm like, yo, man, they treat dogs better than real people. I'm like, I love dogs, but ain't nobody kissing me and licking my ice cream. But they licking themselves and the doggy spot.
You could have that's what I'm saying. To Uber walk your dog. I mean, it's pretty insane. But I mean, there's a market for everything. I think that's what we got to remember. There's a market.
There's a market on the East Coast. We have all these bridges, and I'm sure they're here. There's a market where people will pay you that you can find a person that will drive you across the bridge.
Really?
Will drive. There's a group of people that you can call if you're afraid to cross the bridge.
They must be Jamaicans or Haitians.
See, he can say that. See, I wouldn't say that, but now that you said it, yes, most of them are.
Right? See? I knew it.
But it is a business because there is a need. There was somebody who drove to the bridge and who was afraid.
Yeah.
And they might have shared it with somebody else, and then somebody else had the same phobia, and then somebody said, "Well, let me if there's a need."
Don't worry about it. I'll take care of that.
Uber was a great example.
Yeah.
When you look at Uber to be able to knock the taxi business out of and Netflix, I just saw this image of a shark like Netflix eating up Blockbuster. Remember, Blockbuster was it. But when you rest on your laurels and you think that you are the big cheese, and you got a company like Netflix has not been around that long, they come and knock out Blockbuster that was everywhere.
You know why? Because they were thinking out of the box.
That's it.
Well, like Toys R Us.
That's a soft spot right there. I'm about to start crying.
But the thing is that I think that we got to keep evolving and we got to keep learning and we got to keep elevating ourselves. And if we become complacent and we don't
get comfortable,
just like social media, we got to keep learning the new technologies. We got to learn the new programs. Who's listening? Who's watching? Who's what new app, etc. What makes it easier for us? What makes it easier for them? What's going to give us a bigger reach? It's constantly changing, and if we're not learning and changing and evolving with it, then we're going to to be left behind.
Stay fresh.
Well, we're at the top of the hour right now. This show has been wonderful. It's like there's so much innovative and creative information. I had something I wanted to throw in there, but, we're out of time. So if what we're going to do right now, we're going to have you just give us some final words, tell us where you're going to be, how people can get a hold of you, and a phone number, a website, something.
So you can hit me on all social media, LamarDarnellShields.com, Change Agent 2 on Twitter, Lamar D. Shields on Facebook. My website is drlamardarnellshields.com. Google me. My website, I'm rocking the shirt right here, my new show, soundbombing.com. That's SOUNDBALMING, soundbombing.com. Number 855-226-2500 or 1-800-CAMBIO1, CAMBIO1. LDS at thecambiogroup.com. Just grateful and honored to be here. But check me out, Soundbombing. I'm excited about my show, the people I'm working with, and I love what you guys are doing here. So you guys have been great. And I'm on the road. I'm going from Temecula tomorrow, South Bend, then Chicago, and then we're going to be headed to Arizona, Sedona, to do some work. And then we're going to wrap up the year bringing my team together to focus on goals for next year. So I have my team members coming to Maryland to focus on the goals for next, because we coming out in Spanish, Dale Duro. I'm coming out. I'm hitting it hard, right? We're going to hit it hard. We're going to hit it hard.
So my Small Biz Pros, that's the information. What we're going to try to do, we're going to try to bring back Dr. Shields sometime soon, perhaps in 2019. And I try to see if we can get him around about the end of the year. I know he's going to be traveling and all of that, but if not, we'll try to bring him back 2019. Sandy.
All right.
Anything you want to share with our great audience?
Well, thank you for watching, and thank you. It was definitely a pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to getting to know more about you and connecting with you. And thank you for the invitation. I had a great time, and
you're near and dear to my heart.
It's always a great positive space of just always learning. So thank you all for watching. You can go to my website, sandylouguerrero.com or lifestracecoaching.com, and find me on Facebook at Sandy Lou Guerrero. So thank you.
Tell them about your show. When is it?
And yes, I have my show, Facebook Live, Transform Your Life with Sandy Lou and Friends, every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And stay tuned for my show honoring our veterans with a live audience. If you want to be a part of it, please reach out to me directly. We have a live audience show. It's going to be on November 12th in the city of Monterey Park at the American Legion, Post 397. It starts at 6:30. Please message me if you want to support, volunteer, or sponsor, and I look forward to seeing you there.
And this has been the Business Zone with
Sandy Lou Guerrero.
Who am I today? Leon Isaac Kennedy, Lamar Darnell Shields in the building.
And, of course, Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. My co-host, Crystal, is not here today, but she'll be back next week. My Small Biz Pro, we've disseminated some great information today. I want you guys to listen. You may not hear everything we said today, but I'm sure there's at least one point you can walk away with. I want you to think about that one point. And if you've missed it or you don't remember what we talked about today, you can go to YouTube and just type in the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. You'll get videos of all of our shows. You can go back through it and do it. We're out.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing plan. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing plan. Got my capability statement, yes, I'm ready to go. Got my balance sheet, my P&L, my statement of cash flow. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.